We're following on from an interview we did with John here some months ago at the volunteers event, and it was incredibly popular, your video, and obviously it's to do with homelessness, and we touched on this whole subject about is there much of it on the Isle of Man, and you opened my eyes certainly to yes there is, and this place is one of a couple, but you're pretty main here in Douglas for looking after people who have found themselves, for whatever circumstance, nowhere to go.
Well, yeah, definitely. For example, last year we saw over 125 different guys coming in throughout the year, served 2,500 hot meals. It's definitely something that is a pressing issue on the island, and does often get ignored and neglected. So yeah, it's been wonderful to have been featured on the show and for it to have caused as much interest as it has.
And that's the thing, because people just don't imagine we have that society here particularly, and yet it does exist. Can you give it an example? Is there an average person that does need help?
So for the most part, most of the attendees that we tend to get in on a daily basis, they tend to maybe be in accommodation that's just not appropriate for various different reasons. As I mentioned last time, for example, they might not have access to proper sanitation, kitchen space, maybe the house or the flat or the room just isn't appropriate for them or fit for purpose. So in that case, we're able to provide things here that maybe they're lacking there. If that's a safe and friendly environment, shower space, hot food, hot drinks, whatever that might be, we're able to provide. Likewise, we do often get people that do need to stay overnight that are in a far more urgent situation, so to speak.
But you don't have many rooms. I mean, what we're sitting on here is a sort of crash beds, would they be, sort of thing? This is what people would stay here short term, then you find places for them, do you?
Yeah, so we're able to provide emergency accommodation overnight for people. So providing, for example, as you said, sleeping in here. Alternatively, we're able to put people up in volunteers' houses if needs be. We're able to take risks like that, which really builds up a great deal of trust with the guys that we see come in.
Now, you're next door to the church. Are you church funded? I mean, how do you get your money? Are you a religious organisation? What?
We do have a Christian ethos, so we do originate from the church next door and from Staros, which is an addiction support charity based on the island, which also has Christian roots. That said, most of our funding comes from private donors, so it's not all from the church. They are very generous though and do let us use the facilities here for free, so it's all rent free, which is an absolute blessing. Additionally, yeah, that doesn't put any limits on who we recruit as volunteers or who we pay attention to. So if someone came in and needed urgent help, our first question wouldn't be about what creed or confession do you sign up to. We just want to help people, and that's what we're here for.
We've been rerunning some pictures from your video, which you kindly lent us last time to use to explain this. But we've also been into the kitchen today. We've got consent, by the way, of everyone who's on this video. And it does seem a very happy place. I mean, people are here obviously are finding their feet again, and this is sort of something that may have obviously hit the rock bottom and find their way back up again.
I think a big part of it does involve creating a culture where we are supportive and encouraging and being friendly towards them, trying to help them develop hope and imagine a new lifestyle away from what they've maybe used to in the past, or situations that they're currently facing.
You mentioned drugs earlier and that sort of thing. Is there a big problem there as well, that this causes a spiral that gets out of control?
I think we do have to be quite realistic. Sometimes there are a wide range of issues surrounding homelessness, so there might be substance abuse, there may be historic cases of abuse, either being done to the person or otherwise inflicting upon others. There may be alcohol issues as well, mental health issues, maybe issues involving prison as well. And of course there are those that have just been plain unlucky. So within that, yeah, it's never as simple as just putting someone up in a house or putting them up in accommodation overnight. We do have to then be careful about that and take proportionate risks and encourage people to use services which are appropriate towards them.
You've had some support from, I think it was PokerStars and people like that.
Yeah.
They've got involved. And are you looking for more of that sort of involvement?
Oh, we would never say no to it. So PokerStars, for example, were very generous and gave us a very generous donation at the start of the year, which we've been able to use to develop our storage space. Previously it had been quite a task finding things in the storage units, so we've been able to redo those completely. Manx Telecom as well have been very generous and given us money for the kitchen space, which we're hoping to renovate. Additionally, Oncon Library have been very generous recently. On World Book Night, they did us a massive favour and raised some money for us, as well as hosted a quiche contest, which was really tasty. We all thoroughly enjoyed that.
Is it a thing about breaking down barriers as well? Because this isn't, as I said at the beginning, almost seen as a problem on the Isle of Man. Is it getting an awareness out there that you are around and you do need funding? Yeah,
so I think, well, first of all, the awareness of it as being an issue, we quite often do sweep it under the rug and kind of choose not to acknowledge it as being a problem. And part of that is due to the fact that, as I said in the last video, it just manifests itself in a completely different way over here as it does, say, in like Manchester or London or the big cities, where you don't really come across people begging on the side of the street. Instead, homelessness does manifest itself in a very different way here. So there is that aspect of awareness. The second one is also we're doing this job. We're caring for people on a day-to-day basis and trying to support them. So if people did want to support us, we'd be more than welcome to talking with them about that.
Do you have any idea about success rates? Do you keep in touch with everyone? Or, I mean, obviously some people will still want to not participate for too long, I suppose, and they disappear off your radar. But do you have any idea how it works?
It's quite difficult to manage success in terms of statistics and numbers. For example, there's some people that kind of come in, maybe stay overnight, and then we're able to find their feet a bit, help them out, put them up in accommodation on a more long-term basis. Some cases that's really nice to never have to see them again because their problem has been solved. There are other people that stay in touch and whose lives have been absolutely transformed. I, for example, 2 years ago, I stopped volunteering and returned to university, and when I came back, I started working here, and it was just surreal kind of coming back and seeing these lives absolutely transformed as they'd kind of worked through issues that had been here. I almost didn't recognise some of the guys. It was really surreal. So it's kind of hard when you see them on a day-to-day basis to acknowledge these small changes over time, but you do see it over the long term.